Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of Ever to Podcast, our somewhat regular get-together here in audio format at E2C Network, where we share the Auburn experience. That experience to us is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it might be, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today on episode 17 of the Auburn Experience podcast. My name is Kyle, as always, your host. Thank you for joining us as we get into talking about all things orange and blue here that are prevalent in the space of sports, culture, family. It doesn't even have to be current events. It could just be topics that are hot right now in the Auburn social media space, things like that. And obviously today is June 4th, 2025, to give you a timestamp of where we are and where our minds are at right now. So a couple of topics that I've got prepared for you today are not necessarily all big news items, but they kind of bring up some bigger topics. So that's kind of the focus and theme of today. Since we're all sitting waiting for the first time ever Auburn baseball hosted Super Regional in Auburn, Alabama, let's keep the excitement and flair going there with a couple of notes and then something a little bit speculative from me and maybe some of you that saw that on social media as well. Obviously, the baseball information we gave you yesterday is still relevant. The upcoming Friday to Sunday, if required, Friday to Saturday at least, Super Regional will be hosted by Auburn, taking on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Game is at 8 p.m. Central Time on Friday, 2 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, TBD for Sunday if needed. It's going to be a fun one with what sounds like a great, fun, maybe rowdy Coastal Carolina crowd. So for those of you that are going to be there, and we're lucky enough to have the opportunity to be there, here's why in a second, you are very lucky. It is sold out officially. I think it was already technically sold out, and at least the general admission ones were sold out shortly after I was able to get to a computer when I got back on Monday from being gone all weekend at the Auburn Regional. So it looks like officially now all other ticket options are sold out. Now, with that in mind, if you're panicking like maybe I am, so we are obviously looking for an opportunity to go there. So just maybe as a PSA here, if anybody wants to be generous and donate or / just charge us a reasonable price for a general admission ticket at least to get in, we are very open to that, and I'm sure many of you are as well. So be looking for that on the secondary market and things like that. If you know people, work out deals. Now, I will tell you that their fan experience staff has put out notice that while it is sold out, they might have some come available at the day of, and I don't know exactly when the ticket office is going to open. It's usually a few hours before game time, but they might have some that don't get used or get returned because people's lives change and things like that. So probably your best bet is to go to Auburn and hope that you can find a way to get in. As I always tell you, right now there is a good opportunity to see from the parking deck. I will recommend that you get there early for that as well. If you don't have a ticket to get in, that's what we'll be doing at this point. But just keep that in mind. Tickets are sold out. It's a good thing, but also I know for those of you that didn't get it, it could be frustrating. But here's the other thing about seating, tickets, things like that. The staff, and I'll credit Rhett Hobart, who I believe is the fan experience staff. I always forget his official title. Sorry, Rhett. But he posted something that was a little bit cryptic yesterday on social media that I found quite interesting. If you know the layout of Plainsman Park, you'll know that there is this hitting facility out in right field, obviously beyond the fence. And there's the K corner over there where there's people that manage that. I think they get to sit over there. But there's been speculation and talk that they might one day put seats out there. What do you think about that? Meaning on top of the building, utilizing the building in some way to have outfield seats there. I think it's very interesting that picture was shared by Rhett Hobart and the regional coming up. Am I saying that they're about to unveil some way to sit up there or be up there? Not necessarily, but the timing is very interesting. If nothing else, generating conversation. This is a big deal with Auburn selling out their super regional tickets so quickly that there's clearly, for these type of events at the very least, a need for some extra seating capacity areas. So I don't know what to think of it other than it gets me very interested, and certainly it was done for a reason. And certain players, I think Ike Irish maybe, or some other people acknowledged that as well and said that's a pretty good view from back there. And I will tell you that if you have gotten a general admission ticket for the outfield for the super regional or for the regional previously, you had a good view as well. The outfield views are not bad whatsoever. So definitely go check those out if you ever get the opportunity to. So what do you think? Seats on the hitting facility in right field, maybe in the future, maybe sooner. I don't know. We'll wait and see about that. Next thing I got for you is kind of a reminder for those of you that maybe missed it. If you took part in our live stream last night with Clint Richardson, the Auburn Uniform Database, you know that we are marching towards July 1st and the ending of Auburn and Under Armour's contract officially, and the beginning of Auburn and Nike. Now, for this purposes and what we focused on last night, we did a history of Auburn and Under Armour. I know so many of you are thrilled, excited about the change, and I understand that, and I don't necessarily disagree with some of those changes. I am someone who's was not in favor of the change, but I also want what's best for Auburn, and if the powers that be decide that's what's best, then I can accept that. But what we did is we talked about a lot of the Auburn history. He's got an article out right now going through not just history in general, but through a photographic history of how the uniforms have changed for football, for soccer. He'll be releasing others this week, men's and women's basketball. Volleyball's already out, and a couple of others as well. So we've got that article out there. You can go to auburnuniforms.com/Under Armour, and it's got the full thing if you want to get his take on it, but you can also watch our show last night. But I think when we got done with our conversation, I thought about the high and the low moments of the Under Armour day, and we talked about why some of these things may have happened and when, speculated a little bit, and why things maybe ended. But I think one of the high points that everybody will remember is the click-clack commercial of Auburn and Under Armour when they first signed on back in the mid-2000s. And Tommy Tuberville's, in his very southern drawl, as I've seen people message us and remind us, click-clack, or however he said that, which was very, very funny to think about that and remember all that. The other big moment that I think will always stick in my mind is towards the end here was when the face mask came to Auburn. Now, as Clint pointed out, that really has nothing to do with Under Armour making the decision to do that. That was a team decision, but it was part of the story of the uniform with Under Armour there, and I think it's important to kind of note that there. When you got the white face mask to go with however they wanted to mix the uniform up, and then the orange face mask, which I'm not a fan of, frankly. So I think that there are other things where you maybe saw Under Armour experimenting more and trying to being very innovative, maybe sometimes to a fault, but then finding something that works, and the team finding something that works for them too, and kind of sticking with it. Soccer was a really good example of that. So if you want to learn about the history of Auburn and Under Armour, last night's show was a good one. Clint's article is a good resource, but we are winding down here. And I hope that you will look back fondly onto some memories with Auburn and Under Armour, whether you are happy or not about the change. Last thing I have for you here, maybe the last thing, is this is a conversation that came up on one of our TikTok lives recently. And I like to kind of throw these things in there from time to time. Most of you, or maybe not most of you, but many of you know that I obviously went to Auburn, and this field that I'm in now is not what I originally studied. I have a zoology degree from Auburn. Yes, I worked for a zoo, and yes, I really enjoyed it. It was time for a change, though, which is why I'm doing this now. So the question came up because I think people get really interested when they find out that I have a zoology degree and I went to Auburn. They ask, well, if you wanted to do it again, what would you do? What would you study? And I think that's a really good question that I'd love to hear from a lot of you all on at e2cnetwork@gmail.com. If you could do it again, or if you, for the first time, what would you want to study at Auburn? and maybe take out whatever barriers you have. If you're not good at a certain subject or something, but you're just interested in working in that field, I think that's fair game. So zoology, obviously for me, I think a lot of people assumed I would go into journalism. I actually can't stand that. I shouldn't say it that way. It's not that I can't stand the field. It's just I'm not a great public speaker, which I guess maybe is a little bit surprising considering I'm doing this and not necessarily public, but it's putting my voice out there. I think I wouldn't like the course of study, although I would like being in the field as it kind of looks like I'm doing right now, at least from a content creation standpoint. I would love to go into the Auburn architecture program. I've been in their buildings before. I've had friends that go through it. They've shown me around, shown me the projects that they do, what they do with their work, how tangible some of their course of study was. So if you've ever had an opportunity to learn about that, to see that program, that is the one that I would probably choose, not necessarily engineering, but I guess tertiary close to it if I understand the field properly. A lot of geometry involved, and I'm big into that, but it's a good program as well that Auburn has. Auburn has a lot of good programs, not just vet school, not just engineering, but a lot of good courses of study that you can have. So if you are a person that has been to Auburn, I would love to hear from you. What would you do if you had to do it a second time? And if you haven't been to Auburn and you would like to, what would you study? That's a good little interaction. I'd love to hear from those of you on a direct message on social media or at E2C Network, not at E2C Network, at gmail.com, which is our main email. Love to hear from you that way, or just any topic that you would love have addressed here on Ever to Podcast. So that's what I have for you all today on that. A little bit of baseball kind of follow up for the Super Regional, thinking about Auburn and Under Armour, and then talking about a little bit of Auburn academics. That's what you get here, the full Auburn experience. As always, please keep up with us on social media. If you're listening to this when this is recorded on Wednesday, June 4th, join us tonight on YouTube for our live call-in show, the Auburn Family Night, as we call it. That's at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. We'd love to see you there, and make sure you're checking out all the other podcasts we have out for you, including this series and our main show, The Auburn Experience, with Austin Scott and myself, episode 127 out now. Thank you for tuning in with us today. I hope you guys are having a great week. And thanks for being here with us. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.